The North Pennines AONB Partnership's peatland programme uses a variety of techniques to restore degraded peatlands. One of these is the reintroduction of sphagnum mosses. Sphagnum mosses are an important component of healthy bogs which contribute to peat formation, water storage and carbon sequestration. Here in the North Pennines, we're fortunate to have lots of sites in good condition with abundant sphagnum which we can use to restore degraded sites. As part of the North Pennines AONB Partnership's role in the Carbon Connects project, we've been trialling new sphagnum reintroduction techniques on heather cuts on a blanket bog pilot site where heathers become dominant with very little sphagnum moss. For the reintroduction, we use sphagnum harvested by hand from a nearby donor site. The sphagnum is harvested in handfuls called clumps, and these are pulled from the ground and then put into bags to be transported onto the restoration site. We target the species of sphagnum that are the most common locally and choose donor sites as close to the restoration site as possible to ensure the clumps are acclimatised to the local weather conditions. The main species targeted are Capifolium and Papilosum, as these are both peat-forming species. Heather cutting is used by land managers in the North Pennines as a moorland management technique, with the cut heather or brash left in place. This is a good opportunity to reintroduce sphagnum to degraded sites, utilising the brash to protect the sphagnum. On the pilot site, we used a new technique to reintroduce sphagnum, which involved breaking the clumps into fragments. This was done using a strimmer, and it made the sphagnum easier to spread and able to cover a larger area, as each fragment will grow into a new plant. Before spreading the sphagnum fragments, the brash on the heather cuts was moved aside in strips using a leaf blower. This ensured that the fragments could be spread onto the exposed ground below and would grow successfully. The sphagnum fragments were then spread by hand onto the exposed ground at various thicknesses. The heather brash was then spread over the top of the fragments using pitchforks. The brash will keep the sphagnum moist and protected from weathering, increasing the success rate. We'll monitor the progress of this site over the next few years and compare the sphagnum fragment technique to our standard clump planting to see which is the most effective method for reintroducing sphagnum on heather cuts.